this session I want to look at how we can use the frame command to build a cable between the point on here and on the end of here. First thing I'm going to do is, as you can see, sort of as I'm moving over, this top here is highlighting, which I don't really need for this. So I'm just going to go into occurrence properties and turn it off as being selectable. If I need to, I can still select it over here, but it means that as I'm trying to select faces and whatever, it's not interfering. And also I'm going to create just the profile that I'm after. So Control N takes me through to a new part file. And I'm going to switch to ordered and create a extrusion. And this is just going to be a simple 5mm diameter tube, pipe, cable, whatever you want it to be. If I want it to be hollow, I can just put another circle in here. And I also need to just create a line on here, and that's going to be construction. So I need to define a frame origin. So I can hover over here, get that point in there, and then I need to define the X and Y orientation, and then right mouse click to accept. And then when I go finish, I can just give it a random depth and go finish, and then save this out. And I'll just rewrite over this one. So it's 5mm diameter wire, so I can close it out, and I'll use that as my cross section. So if we go into the tools menu, go to frame. Now there's several options that I could choose here, but if we look at this, we can see that the two are on different heights. So probably using a Path Express, I want it to be sort of nicely rounded. Path Express gives you a distance between the two, but it's all sort of square, which is not what I'm after. So I'm going to use the line segment command, and you've got tooltips here to sort of help you define how you want it to run. So if you're coming off a port, it's always going to come off perpendicular, and I'm going to put a 50mm line on there. And then I'm going to add a second one in, and you'll see why in a minute, but I want to lock it to that y-axis, and I'll put in a second 50mm and do that for the first end, and then I'll do the same sort of thing on the other end. 50mm. Distance doesn't really matter, and again I'm going to lock it so it's in line. I could use the parallel relationship up here. So then for the final point I can come back to here, so you'll see that sorry, got the wrong point there. Go back and start at the end point, go to the end point, and you can see that that's coming in at an elevation across there. So if I try and do a frame from here, you've got the option of sort of putting in a radius, but that isn't really what I'm after at this stage. The way I'm going to do it is to use the curve segment command, and the reason I've done two is because I'm going to use the midpoints relationship. So if I just select that as my chain, you can see that by having it separated here, going through the midpoints, it's sort of picking up a point in here, which gives me a nicer curve. If I had it as a single line, it would drop straight in here, but it gives me a nice curve through those points. If I want to, I can add in some sort of like smart dimensions on here and sort of lock those in. I'm not going to worry about that at this stage. So going into the frame, I'm just going to leave all those defaults and use this as my profile, using that 5 diameter wire that I created earlier, and just right mouse click, and you can see that we have a nice sort of profile on there that's sort of raising up to the new level. If I want to sort of change how far out that's coming, I can just click on place a dimension on one of these lines, and that readjusts it. Also, this does mean, because I've created it in this way, I've got some offsets on here, so if I sort of extended it out, you'll see that that wire is moving with it. Likewise, if I sort of dropped it out in this direction as well, adjusted that, you can see that it's sort of adjusting in nicely and holding still and giving me something that looks sort of semi realistic. And if you come and change your design, it's going to modify with it as well. So hopefully this gives a nice indication of where we can use the frame command, available in Foundation, Classic or Premium. So yeah, just a nice little tool to help with creating pseudo wires.